What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to another live stream. It is the match preview. We're back. We've been away for a couple of days. Last video kicked off, so thank you everyone who tuned into that. After the final thoughts of the Wrexham game. So huge shout out to everyone who tuned in and hit the like button on that. Much appreciated, much love. Well, today we got the match preview v Coventry. As you can tell by the title, it is payback day, revenge day. It's a big game for us and them as well. So yeah. Q Ryan, yo DB, how are you? I'm good, man. How are you? Hopefully you're okay. Hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully you're doing okay. We also have a bit of something different today. We're going to do a bit of an analysis on Coventry as well, because after the last time we played Coventry, I'll be honest with you, I was really annoyed at the end. I didn't look it, but I was really annoyed in the sense of how we performed in that first half, where there was no attacking threat. The formation wasn't working. The players were very bad on the day. They were very useless, giving the ball away a lot. And I constantly said at the start of that game, to be honest, and the preview show of this away was basically that we needed to be careful because he was going to play the Chelsea style, which was wing play goals and over the top, and he did, and it cost us. And I feel like Norwich did exactly what we need to do and what they did to Coventry. So yeah. Good to hear Cuba Ryan. Very good to hear. Who else we got in the chat? We got anyone else in the chat before we start? Oh man. How was everyone today? Hopefully you're all having a good weekend. Well, week. One more day until pretty much the game day for us against Coventry. So yeah. Going to be interesting. All right, what's the time? All right, 16 minutes. All right, well, let's get into it, I guess. There's only a couple of people in here. Well, let's get started, really. So yeah. So we have Coventry at home at the Matchday Stadium. Match day 30 for the season. Almost halfway. So yeah, QPR Ryan says another 1-7 incoming. Hopefully to us, what you mean is that. So yeah, not to hopefully you don't mean Coventry. So yeah, but yeah, match day 30. And as you can see, the referee is Joshua Smith. Now, I believe Joshua Smith was one of the referees that I wanted to keep an eye on, because the last time we had Joshua Smith, I think it wasn't a good game. So yeah, if anyone knows any information on the referee, please let me know. Because I'm sure it's a referee that I'm not a big fan of. So yeah. So going into this game, obviously we lost 7-1 away to Coventry at the start of the season. We are sitting 12th at the moment in the league. Coventry are sitting top of the league still, since before, when they started the season. They're sitting on top with 58 points. They are a very good goal difference, but their form has not been great recently. For the last, well, I would say for this year completely, to be honest. So Coventry have shown that they are not human. Well, they are human, I should say, not human. They are human. They can lose games, and it is a possibility at home. If we can do what we need to, we can get the result that we want. You know, have I got faith in it? Not really, but we'll see what happens on the day. Because listen, look, we got a lot of injuries. We got 2 players. It sounds like they're back in training. Could it help us? Possibilities are there as well. So yeah, but yeah, realistically, I just don't want to get thrashed again 7-1. It's that simple. We're sitting 12th, like I said, with 40 points. You know, we get the win. We can push up to more into the top 10, depending on how results go our way. So yeah, there's that. You know, there's a lot of concern. Obviously, Norwich are, with their new manager, boosting up their confidence to get up the league. What else is there? You know, Sheffield Wednesday are probably going to be relegated anyway. West Brom have a new manager. So yeah, Southampton are starting to struggle again. But yeah, apart from that, it looks interesting what will happen. You know, Leicester just lost Marty Fuentes from recent performances and playing style. So yeah, AB's in chat. We are either going to get destroyed or have a generational performance. Yeah, it's either gonna be good or bad, isn't it? To be honest, AB, and it's either gonna be good or bad. So yeah, but. Grim Plays, welcome to the chat. Defend well and no red cards, then you might be okay. Grim Play says. I would say the worst scenario is right now. Well, Mbenge would have been the worst scenario, to be honest, because of the red card. But realistically, I would say red cards won't happen. I don't think, unless someone decides to make a stupid challenge and try and do something stupid, then yeah. But yeah, it's gonna be a tough game. I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be a tough game, just like how it was at home at Coventry. Well, when we played Coventry at their ground, you know, on that same day when it happened, they got the right to their stadium. There's a big celebration for them, the name and everything like that. So yeah. What do we need to be careful with? Well, pretty much everything. If we look at the squad, like I said before, you know, they got Haji Wright with 10 goals up front, Mason Clark 6 goals, 3 assists, Thomas Asante 10 goals, 4 assists. You know, recent signing in on loan, SA has got 2 goals, Grimm's got 2 assists in midfield, 7 goals for Torp, 4 assists, De Silva 1 assist, Kitchen 2 goals, Thomas 2 goals, Van Uwijk 6 assists, sorry. So technically you can see where the threats are, you can see what they utilize and use. So yeah, it's gonna be a hard game still, even at home, you know, and hopefully we can do the right thing and watch what they're doing. You know, they've got pacey forwards and they've got strong midfielders and pacey wingers on the wings, on the fullbacks, if you want to call them that. And then 2 centre-backs that seem to like to get up forward and attack as well. You know, Rushworth, as I would say, he's been attacking more, been coming out of goal a lot more. So that could be a good threat. You know, they do a high press. They press high. And counter-attacks could be a good opportunity for us to use. You know, hopefully he's going to use that idea. But defensive ability, we need to stay on the attack with Coventry. You know, we can't just gift them the ball and let them keep us in our own area. You know, we have to pursue the attack a lot more than we have been and get going with that. You know, we got to try and get going constantly with that. AB says, I hope Edwards plays right back instead of Dunn. Grim says, a slight change from when you played us last week. Looks okay from what I can see. Played us last week. Are you a Wrexham fan? Or a Coventry fan, and you mean from last time? I'm a bit confused. But yeah, like I said, they're gonna play. In my opinion, when Lampard was at Chelsea, you know, he had this certain playing style with Jose Mourinho. What they would do was a lot of wing play goals and a lot of over the tops. They would set pieces was crucial as well. You know, and Lampard seems to have taken that strategy to Coventry, Derby County, and when he went back to Chelsea as a manager as well. So realistically, we know what the threat is. We know what we got to do. We know that they play a very high line in defence, it looks like. Now, they're obviously going to learn from their results from Norwich, Stoke and Birmingham. You know, Leicester beat them, but Millwall beat them. No, sorry, tell a lie. Norwich beat them, Stoke and Birmingham beat them. Leicester and Millwall both lost against them. So they were both games that were Coventry at home, and then the rest were pretty much Coventry away, I believe. Yeah, so we have a good look. Their form away is not brilliant at the moment. We have that opportunity at home. You know, our form really is a shambles. So yeah, we got a lot to do, a lot of work to do, and hopefully Julian Stefan has done that, and hopefully his analyst has done what needs to be done to get the right people in the right places. So yeah. Grim says Wrexham, a proper Wrexham fan, not one of those idiots you had in the last one. Oh, don't. Oh god. I'll be honest. I think someone, whoever, I'll talk about it now. But yeah, I think the person who did it, if I'm not mistaken, we've had it in the chat before. We had the same person in the chat before. I don't think I don't know if he's a subscriber. I think he's just. I don't know if he's. I think we had him against a Wrexham game. I'm not sure, but he said pretty much the same thing as before. But I'm not really bothered by it. At the end of the day, you know, I'm not gonna. I think it was more the fact that the result got to me, and the game. So yeah, but as I was saying with Coventry, their midfield is something. You know, I'm gonna pull something up in a minute because I've done something a bit different with this stream. I'm actually gonna do a bit of an analysis on Coventry and what we need to do from their game against Norwich. So we'll get into that in a second. But yeah, like I said, you know, we need to kind of attack a lot more than we have been. High line, I would say. Jimmy Dunn needs to be playing, and Ronnie Edwards needs to be playing. Escudina is fit. He's declared Escudina is fit. Sato's back as well. So we have some strength on the wings and obviously at left back. Harvey Vale, I hope to see him be playing, you know, against his well, his, I wouldn't say old teammate, but his old club's person in Lampard. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I would say being at home, you know, our crowd can get behind us a lot, and we can get going, and we can do the job. You know, like I said, their keeper is a part of their defense. You know, high line attack is what we need to do. Giving the ball away is something that we gotta stop with. You know, Kieran Morgan might not be the best person to play in this game, just because obviously his previous Coventry game wasn't great. So yeah. We will play very defensive this game, low block type shit. We'll hopefully keep our eye and we don't. That's one thing I'd say. Coventry are in a bit of a bad place at the moment. Take it to them, but defend well. Watch out for the late thrust if you're winning. Well, like I said, you know, I'm not gonna blame. Obviously, as a Wrexham fan, you know, I'm not gonna lie. I like what Ryan Reynolds and Rob McNally has done with Wrexham. You know, they've gone from the lowest of lows all the way up to the Championship, back to back promotions, which is an outstanding achievement for Wrexham, really is. But obviously, you know, the manager you have is good, but I would say personally, the players that you're bringing in, I would say I would have probably have done. I wouldn't have gone too far in the sense of signing 10 mils and stuff like that. I think like you could have got better bargains with better players, but it depends on how his playing style is, you know, in himself. So, but personally, I think Wrexham, are literally, they're up there in the playoffs, you know, like they're showing it again. If they get another promotion, it's gonna be crazy because, you know, they need that stadium. You know, they need a bigger stadium because it's gonna be hectic when there's away games at Wrexham. You know, it's gonna be, you know, well known. You know, it's the Hollywood. You know, it's typically that. But I would say Wrexham with that game, it was a bit. When that red card went piranha, Wrexham went like piranhas, mate. They saw the blood and that was it. And I said at the end of the game, well, not at the end, but when that ball went to that guy right at the end of the game, you know, it's like a basketball game. If you are on the final seconds of the game and you have open space to shoot from anywhere, you're gonna do it. And he did it, and it was a cracking goal. So yeah. What else we have here? Hope QRN says, hope we start strong and attack, but stupid pass and they will instantly be on the counter. Exactly. They have too much quality for us to make silly mistakes like we did against Wrexham. I feel like, do you know what? You know, the thing with Mbenge, listen, look, don't get me wrong. I'm annoyed that he got the red. Why would you challenge? But at the end of the day, I put full blame in Julian because he's the one that has to make the decision to take him on or off, you know, and he should know his players a lot better than I do, you know. So yeah. AB says to be fucked, we can definitely get these on the break. They commit a lot of players forward, which makes the back line exposed. I reckon the game will have goals. 100%. This game will have goals, but depending on what type of goals it will be, because you know, I think Norwich and Birmingham have both shown it that what the weaknesses are for Norwich. I said what the weaknesses were for Lampard, but it's still, we lost completely, got shattered 7-1, you know. It's a bad one, and the formation, I don't know what he's going to choose, but if I was him, and I hate to say it, but 4-4-2 might generally be the best formation to use if he's going to go defensive. So yeah. Grim says, yes, we are very, very lucky to have them as our owners. Not sure how you feel about your owners, but I wish all the owners were as invested in their clubs as ours, not just for the money, but for the games. See, it's different with every club. It's different. I'm going off topic off topic now, but I would say this, Grim. I would say you got to look at it this way. Your ownership can get sponsors, can get a lot of sponsors, because you got to remember who they are. With us, our ownership has money, but we can't spend that much money because of the regulations of what we can afford and what we can do. So there's that difference. I think our owners are brilliant. I think our owners do a great job, and I think your owners do a great job. But I would say, personally, when you sign players, like for example this player right now that you're linked with 17 million or whatever, do you think it's a signing that you should be making, if that makes sense? AB, very important to get the first goal for this game. 100% AB, 100%. You know, we gotta, it's not just the first goal, we need the first and second goal. It's that simple. Walsh needs to be on point Saturday. They like shooting from range, and we all know Walsh shits his pants when playing strikes from range. Well, Ryan, I'll be honest, lately he's been like, well, obviously not Wrexham, but you know, West Ham had a couple of long shots, he saved them. And also, who was it who had the long shot? Stoke. He had a couple of good long saves at Stoke. So I'll be honest, it's not long shots that he's scared of. It's the fact being that the power of the shot is the danger. You know, I've seen him just get blisterated from long distance, short distance with power. Like that second goal from Wrexham, he should be dealing with that a lot better, you know. So yeah. AB says, if we could spend, we would already be in the Prem. They are loaded. Well, like I said, it's one of them things. Unfortunately, we can only do what we can do. So yeah. But yeah, like I said, with Coventry, we're going to go into the analysis now. I'm just going to change this. I am. So we're going to switch this over now. And we're going to talk about this quickly. I think it's this one that we want. Yes, this one. Cool. Right, so this is what I've obviously what I wanted to do today. I want to try and do these at the moment. I don't know if you lot are interested in it, but it's very interesting for me, because honestly, for me, football, I see it all around, you know, and I always like to put my views on what we can do a lot better. So yeah. True, to be honest, another thing is that we absolutely need to give Kone service, and for him to deliver, can't keep having him out for forward like that. I would say put him on the bench this game, Kone. I honestly would. I would rather play Collie up front for this game. So yeah. Right, as you can see here, we're going to go into this. We are Microsoft Designer, as you can see, and we're going to do this. So where is it? Markup. Right, so as you can see, you got Coventry player here, goalkeeper, player. Right, so you got four Norwich players here, right? So this is where I believe Coventry had their first opportunity at goal. So as you can see, the centre backs go wide, right? The centre backs go wide. The midfielder, the defense midfielder, pivots in that area, in that middle area, right? So this is the thing what people need to understand. If he's pivoting in the middle and he's there as well, they're double pivot, that keeper is ready to launch attacks. You know, he's in that position to launch attacks. Sorry about the dodgy writing. But yeah, that looks wrong. I'm gonna get rid of that. Sorry, I'm gonna get rid of that. Sorry, that looked wrong. But yeah, they're getting ready to attack on here straight away. So as you can see, two centre backs are wide. The likely chances are the wing backs are literally somewhere on the wing high up, and they're going to attack, right? So there's that one. They're getting ready. So as you can see, Norwich have their attack. Now, this is what we're going to point out later. There's a reason why these three are so closed in, and this guy, number 7, is there, right? The fact is this. They're going to put pressure on them right now, you know? And this is the only way you do it, with closed-in midfielders with the striker. So, yeah. Right, next picture, if I can find it. So this is the second part of the attack that Coventry did, okay? So as you see, that player, if I go to this, sorry, my apologies. If you look here at the visual, oh no, not visuals, markup, there we go. So as you can see, this is the player with the ball right here. You got the Norwich player watching them, like I said. You got 1, 2, 1, 2. These are all the Norwich players you see that I've marked up, okay? Coventry, this player here. Now, with Lampard's play, look how we said it. So, Lampard, in fact, do you know what? We'll do this instead, because yellow, 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 yellow. All right, we'll put Coventry as this, right? So, as you can see, he has the ball. Now, you got your pivotal guy here, this forward for Norwich, watching him. And then you have all of these players. So, Coventry pivot. Look, this is the midfielder who's pushing up. And as you can see, he stays back at halfway to allow his forward line to run on his attacks, to confuse what's going on. So as you can see, two wingers here for Coventry. They've pushed back. Now, the only thing you should understand what he's doing right now is he's going long. And this is what Lampard does best. He's going long. So he's confusing each Norwich player to come forward for that long ball, as you can see. And if we go to our next one, and here it is. So that long ball has come in. So if we go to markup, so as you can see, the ball's here. And you have these Coventry players, which I'll mark up now. So you have one here, one there, one there, one there. And this is how they attack, right? You got your two widers players. These are the wing backs, your two wide players. You got your striker, and you got your attacking midfielders and all of that stuff, yeah? So this is how they wall. So the ball's gone over. As you can see, Norwich keeper straight away, bad. Absolutely bad. He's out. He's out too much. And this is the bad thing about it, right? So Norwich have players back, but the problem is here, you have 4 wide, 2 wide, 2 in the middle. And this is going to give you the advantage on attack. We go to this one here. And this is where Coventry eventually messed up with it. And as you can see, you got your Norwich players who've come back. Now look, Coventry have every player, as you can see, every player tightly marked. And now the ball is in Norwich's half. Now all they have to do is put pressure on. Look, all he can do is hoof it out. Look, every player is watching a single player. Look, he's watching him, he's watching them, he's watching him. You know, it's dangerous. It's so dangerous. So this is what I'm saying. We can't do anything about the long balls. The only way you can obstruct it is by clearing the ball straight away. Because he's too slow, he's taken a risk, he has. And now the pressure comes onto him. Right, next one. Obviously, they I think they scored that one, I'll be honest. That was 1-0, I believe, Coventry. So as you can see here, same thing. This is another attack. You got Norwich players here, all watching. But then one thing is the problem here. Him. He's wide as well. And he's going to go wide. He's going to cut in, you know. So I think he's got the ball here. But then this is the best thing how you defend, okay? And this is why I instructed Norwich. Now this is when Norwich went on to the counter attack. So they've done really well here to have this defense like this, right? And now you have pretty much each player Norwich covering these here. You do. In fact, that's too big. What the hell am I doing? So you have these two marking here, which is good. And then watch this. Someone's going to put pressure on this guy. So now you can put pressure without worrying about anything, okay? And this is what they do. This is what Norwich have done. So he's won the ball back, as you can see. I'll go into this one now. So look, Norwich player has won the ball back. As you can see, Norwich won the ball back from Torp, I believe it is. He's won that back. And now you got, look, all ready to pounce. Already. These two are pivotal mainly, and obviously they're going to have a striker up front. So they're ready. He's won the ball back, and they're on the attack. Now, as you see here, he's on the ball. As you can see, the same guy that won the ball off of Torp. But the thing is, Norwich, if I mark it up, are in a dangerous spot now. So they have all these players here. You have 3, or I would say 2 players watching him. Now, the problem is, you have him ready to run, and he is in an open space to go this way and open up for him, right? And this is why Norwich done so well with this, because the high line of Coventry is so high. And this is what I'm trying to say. Because they play so high, we need to counter-attack or attack more often. And this is why we're going to be hopeful, crucial to beating Coventry like this. So as you can see, this is that. And I'll show you in the next picture that I'm right. There you go. In fact, let me write it down. So if we go to the markup Norwich, look. So he's passed the ball. He's run down from here to here. And the player here has run from all the way into the box, ready to attack. And as you can see here, this player is ready for the pass if needed. Coventry City players all running back, struggling. And they have an opportunity to score, Norwich. If that makes sense. So that is one way. Look, he's going to end up probably launching it into the box. But I don't think he did. I think he actually messed it up. But they won the corner. So as you can see in this corner here, this is another thing that we need to watch out for, because Coventry have a lot of players in the box of defensive abilities. So yeah, so if we mark up Coventry's, look, 1, 2, 3, keeper, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They have 8 players in the box. There are 3 players out of the box right now, okay? Norwich have just taken that cross in, and this is the problem. Everyone's surrounding the keeper for Norwich, and they have an opportunity, obviously, because of what they're doing is surrounding the keeper. But Coventry are going to defend this well because of how many players they have back. As you can see, yet again, the corner, as I said, if we go to markup with Coventry, they cleared it away. You still got all of these, but then they're ready for the counter attack. Obviously, Norwich, I think this was a foul anyway, I believe. But yeah, going on from there, that's what I'm saying. Defensive abilities on set pieces for Coventry is going to be tough for us. I say this because if you remember wisely, Kone's goal when he came on against Coventry was because we surrounded the keeper. And that's what I'm trying to say. If we surround the keeper quite well, we could probably use corners quite well as well. As you can see here, same again, Coventry. In fact, I don't know why I'm clicking that. Mark up. Coventry have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 players at the back. 10 players at the back. This is what I'm saying. So if anyone remembers Burnley, the Burnley game at home last season, it's literally like that, where they all ran back and done bits. But the thing with Norwich right now is that they have players on the attack. They do. And this is the problem with QPR. We don't have this. This is how Norwich beat them, because they have players wide and in the middle. So it's one of them things. Let me see if I can find the problem with I think this was it, right? Yeah. Open space here for Coventry. For example, This was their goal where SA scored. He did. And he got into the box here. Took the long shot and it deflected. And there it is, the goal. SA, all in the box. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is the problem. We can't make mistakes. There again. Look, constantly. A load of people up front for Coventry. It's going to be a problem. It's going to be a serious problem that we need to correct, honestly. Yeah, again, look. The amount of players that have come back from... Look, Coventry have come back with a load of players. But the reason why Norwich did so well here, I'm just going to get this up now. The reason why Norwich did so bloody well here, which I really respected, is him. His vision in all of these players here, when he's looking, I believe he passed it into him over here, if I'm not mistaken. And it all started off with this, I believe. And this is another thing as well, what we need to focus on. So, you see this picture here? If I go to this. So, this is another scenario that we need to work on as well against Coventry. So, if we mark up Norwich players. So, this guy has the ball here, right? Look, they have wide players and middle players. These two, technically, and wide. Now... realistically, you'd think he's going to hoof it up somewhere up here, right? But he doesn't. What he does is quite smart, actually. Is he does hoof it, but this is what is the most stupidest thing about Coventry when they mess this up here. So if we go to mark up, so you see how all of these, but then what you don't see, he's pressured him. And they're in great positions to do a counter-attack. And that's how Norwich did it. So counter-attack, yet again, won the ball off because of the high press. And you got 3 against 4, which you think is bad. But look, you got space there, space there. So it's easy peasy, lemon squeezy if you get it in. And that's what happened. He squared it to the right wing, I believe he did. So he squared it over here for this guy who crossed it in and saw him on the run to finish it. And I believe that's what it was. Like I said, as you can see here, they play a high line and wide. Look, Coventry, this is what we need to understand right now with Coventry. You right, Nick? How are you? Hopefully you're okay. Welcome to the chat. So this is the weakness for Coventry right now. Look, so 4 players up front, okay? All 4 on the attack straight away. Wide players. There's going to be another one there. And this is how Norwich won it. Because all this attack here. And these guys ready. Once he won it back. All went forward. And did the job. So in my opinion. We need to make sure we put pressure on them. When they do this. When they do this high attack with the ball passing like this. We need to do it 100%. We need to counter. We need to put pressure on them when that happens. So, yeah. But hopefully that wasn't too much, you guys. Hopefully that wasn't too much, you guys. I like to get a bit in depth with a bit of football knowledge for you guys. But yeah, like I said before, with Norwich and how Lampard plays, long balls and wing play is going to be crucial because of all their attack. They like to play wide. They like to bring the balls into the box. And they like to thread them through in a certain way. Whether that's crossing the ball in, threading it through. But the threats are going to be on the attack. So as you can see, the 4, Haji Wright, Asante, Esse and Clark are all dangerous for us. You know, the reason why if we're going to win this, we need to put pressure on when they have their midfielders and defence on the ball. And we attack from there. And that's how, hopefully, Julian and his thing get it sorted. 100%. 100%. It's important that we do that. But I'm going to go by with what I see. You know, at the end of the day, I'm still Trying to understand what his game style is in Julian as the 4-4-2. But I'll say this: I like to see a creative threat on Saturday, and that's the end of it. You know, I want to see us push on the attack. Do I want Kone up front? I don't know yet. I think I'd rather have Kone for pace. I don't think we should play Kieran Morgan. Jimmy Dunn, Ronnie's got to play. Cook, possibilities. Davis, I guess so. Joe Walsh, Ben Hamer, I don't know who he's going to choose. Probably Joe Walsh, because obviously main. But I would say in midfield, we definitely need Hayden and Madsen in there. We do. That's key. Hayden and Madsen is key. So yeah. But forward line, Colley, Sato probably, but he's not. He's going to be on the bench. Harvey Vale needs to be in the middle if we're going to play with a middle guy. Dembele, I'm not too sure about because he doesn't seem to be on form at the moment. You know, he did help get Harvey Vale's goal, but I would personally say we haven't really got much attack to be going on by it, to be honest. So yeah, it's quite an annoying one. Let's look at the comments anyway with what I've missed. I can't wait for Chair to be back. We miss him so much. AB said. I would say yeah. I would say Chair. We're missing him a lot. I don't think people actually understand how much we miss him because of the creative threat he is. Grimplay says, yeah, I remember Kone with Wickham. He was fantastic if he had the service. And that's one thing I kept saying is like, Kone is a poacher. He's not... It's like Gyökeres. Gyökeres is a complete forward, but majority of the time he doesn't get the ball into the area that he wants it. So it's the same thing as Kone. Kone is a poacher. He's always going to be in that box waiting for the ball. But unless it's delivered into an area that he can finish... he's not going to do well with it, you know. Ryan says, think we will be okay as we are very good in the air. In defensive abilities, yeah, Ronnie, Jimmy, Cook, they've all been, well, Ronnie, but Jimmy and Cook have been doing really well in the air, so yeah. Nick says, do you think, DB, that Ronnie will be centre back and Dubby on right back? Well, it depending on what we want, because if you think about it, right, if they do play Mason Clark or whoever, they're going to be a dangerous threat and they're going to be pacey. Now, I would personally put the most fastest player on that wing back. So if I would personally even go 3 at the back, I would say. I would personally say he needs to go 3 at the back. He needs to go with Jimmy, Steve Cook and Ronnie all at the back with 2 wing backs, Zachin, like even Adamson or, you know, whoever it is, because, you know, Jimmy Dunn probably is not going to hold off any defender in pace wise, probably strength but not pace. Ronnie Edwards, is he fast? He's quite fast. Can he be faster than Clark? I doubt it very much. So, you know, it's one of them things where we're going to miss Mbenge on that right a lot with the damage that is going to happen. But we need... I would personally say, if we're going to look for pace, Ronnie needs to be on the right, but I personally, Jimmy Dunn would be best on the right. I think personally, I think if it was down to me, I would go 3 at the back. 3-5-2 or 3-5-1-1 or something like that is something that I would do. But yeah. Gladso is back as another attacking body, 100%. Nick, I agree. AB, I could see that, to be honest. AB says Smith would be a brilliant wing back, I think. I think for pace-wise, he will be, but defensive ability, I'm not too sure if he's proven it yet to us. But realistically, 3 at the back is something we might want to look into. You know, we can't have Steve Cook struggling on, because... let's be honest, against Coventry, it was a shocker for him. It was a big shocker. So, yeah. But we'll see what happens on the day. You know, it's going to be a challenging game at Loftus Road. Hopefully, it's a big turnout for us. Hopefully, the crowd get back into Julian and we get the boys going. And hopefully, we get a good form after this, whatever happens. So, yeah, I really want to push on. Forget the other results. And my main focus is defeating Coventry in a way that they defeated us, but we know it's not going to happen. So yeah, Nick says, is there any truth of us having an offer for Collie? No, it's fake. It's fake news. Listen, look, like I said, if unless you have a certain amount of following and stuff like that, it's fake. Like I told, I think it was QBR Ryan. I told that when you go on Twitter, when you look at these accounts, ignore it. Some of it, ignore it. It's all bullshit. They're just trying to get something out of the bag, you know. Ryan Colley, don't get me wrong, I think he is unsettled, you know, but I personally think, is there an offer for him? I don't think there is, and we won't hear anything until deadline day, and that's in next week anyway. So yeah. But that's the end of the match preview. If you enjoyed it, a bit different with analysts, don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to. But I want to talk about apart from the match preview, I want to talk about a certain player that's departed QPR. Because I don't think he got enough credit at QPR. Michi Frey, has left QPR to join, I believe it was Grasshopper or something like that. I believe it said undisclosed fee, but West London Sport reported it as 500,000, which is a good deal. I'll be honest, it's a good deal. But the first thing I want to say is I hope Michi Frey finds his form like he did in who was it that we bought him off of? Flipping neck. You know, he was in form in I can't remember who it was, but he was in very good form. But I really hope him and his family settle down in his new club, do really well. You know, I know you a lot of people would say he wasn't the greatest of strikers, but he was a loved character with the fans. You know, he showed that he showed his passion for QPR, you know, and I really like that. You know, he might not have been the best striker for us, but when he did score, you knew it meant something. So, you know, he's kept us, in my opinion, when we were in the relegation about when Mike Fuentes came in to replace Ainsworth, I think Michi Frey was definitely a big part in that survival for us by scoring them goals for us when we needed them. In the second season, he did okay, but I think injuries kind of kept him away from us. But then with Julian, I think it was more to do with playing style. I don't think Frey suits his playing style and goes from there. So yeah. But I want to say, Michi Frey, thank you for all the good times and all the good goals that you scored for us. And hopefully, all the best, man. And I'm sure everyone in the chat and all the QPR fans that loved you wish you the best as well. So yeah, all the best for you. Yes, that is true. We have signed a defender from Australia again. I'll be honest, I'm not sure about him because I've never heard of him. I've tried researching him, but there's nothing online of him. So it's kind of hard to find out. But I will say this, congratulations to Tarbert on signing his first professional contract today. It was actually announced a couple of hours ago. So Tarbert, congratulations, mate. You actually are a very talented young player. And hopefully this comes on to bigger things for you. Honestly, I want to see you fight for QPR's place, and I would love to see you in the first team one day. You know, we've seen a bit of you in against Plymouth. We've seen you in the development side, and you know, you seem like a real good talent. So yeah, congratulations to you as well. QPR Ryan says, apart from Ronnie, it's been a really shit January compared to Charlton and others who have made multiple first team players. Nick says, funny that I believe they're signing another Australian left back, and as if we need another left back when we really need a right back. I believe it's just like, so I said this, right? You got to remember, can we sign players? Possibly. Does he want to sign players? Probably only for the development squad, you know? Like I said, you got to remember, you got to look at it this way. If you watch last season, January transfer window to this season, you know, we made a couple of signings that we needed. You know, he's only going to sign players that we need and what's on the market. You know, we brought in everyone mostly on deadline day. We did. So, you know, the transfer window is not over yet. You know, we're probably still working on things, but the problem is this. his aim in January is mainly development squad, and that's it. You know, I think he wants to work on a development squad and go from there, and that's why he's signing these youngsters while in January, while he can get a chance of the possibility of probably smaller fees, maybe. But far from that, I would say there's no talk of us signing anyone extravagant. Do we need players? Yeah, I would say if Escudine is back, then left back maybe we can chill out with, but we definitely need a right back. If we do sell, so obviously Frey's gone. I don't think we need a striker at the moment. I know there's injuries, but we can use other players there. Do we need a winger? Possibly on loan would be best, but someone said loans is not for him. Do we feel like we need a midfielder? Depending on sales, man, it's that simple. If sales happen, you know, Nardi's the next one to go out the door. I think, you know, we've heard about Michi Frey constantly. Nardi's a bit of a concern right now. They're saying he's injured, but I'll be honest, I think the majority of the thing is this. I think he might be going abroad. I think he might be leaving the club. So yeah. But apart from that, I've not heard anything. It's been dead quiet for signings. I'll tell you that. Usually I hear something, but there's just nothing there. So yeah, nothing to tell on new signings like that. Always knew that we got Ronnie for that money. It wouldn't be anyone else unless we get rid. So hopefully one or two more still come. I think, like I said, majority of them are just going to be development signings. If we do sign someone big, it's going to be probably a League One player, something like that, or maybe abroad. You know, listen, we have a good youth academy. You know, we can reuse them, but you got to remember, this is how you know if something's bad with an injury or not, because I think if we have players out for the next 4 months, we would probably bring someone in. But if it's only a short period of a month, I feel like the whole point of it is with Christian Uri, we have youngsters, use them, kind of thing. You know, and I know people don't want to hear that. I know people would rather see, well, we need experience and stuff like that. But unfortunately, this is the business on how it works. If you want to understand the game, you gotta understand how to play it. You know, and at the end of the day, the only way to grow players is by playing them and seeing how they do. You know, it's that simple. You know, I respect it, and I think it's good to see, but would I say we need a bit of experience? If we sell experience, then bring experience in. That's how I say it. Samfield goes, we need to replace Samfield. If Nardi goes, we need to replace Nardi. But technically, we have two great keepers. Well, not great keepers, but two championship quality keepers. And you know, obviously go from there. I wish Adamson would be given a run like Escudina. I think there is talks of Adamson leaving. He's actually been interested in an American side, but I don't know if that's permanent or on loan. I'll be honest, you gotta remember Adamson came in, I believe, before Julian. So technically that signing was made as a club, and you know, Julian might not like that type of player. So I don't know what to say with it. But fingers crossed he gets some game time. You know, he has been playing on the bench, but you know, I don't know. I don't know what the problem is there. But the fact that a rumor came out saying that foreign American team is interested in him makes me think he might be on his way out the door as well, just like what Santos was. So yeah, but we'll see what happens. We'll go from there. We've been almost going on for an hour at the moment. We're actually gonna leave it there for tonight. We are. I think everything is covered with Coventry's match preview. I think the only thing that we can do now is hopefully, fingers crossed, wish QPR all the best and hopefully get the result that we want to, and go from there. But if there is any news anywhere or news, I will post it on transfers and stuff like that. So yeah. But apart from that, hope you have a lovely evening. We'll be catching you on Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your week. Last day tomorrow of work if you don't work on the weekends. So enjoy your day. Don't get too drunk afterwards. If you are of age, don't unlegally drink. Honestly, don't do that. You didn't learn that from me. But apart from that, peace, love, positivity. We will. Actually, Nick has just mentioned something in there. I'm going 2-1 for us. Put the comments below of what you think the result is going to be. I'm going to go prediction of the same as Nick, 2-1. I'm going to say that as well. Anyone that agrees with him, hit the like button. If you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to. And we'll catch you Saturday at 2:30, 2:45, wherever it is, for the big game of QPR Coventry. Revenge is what we want. So yeah, have a lovely day, have a lovely evening, catch you in a bit.